Hi everyone, we're moving through to using liquid enamels today. Here's an example of liquid enamel. The background has been enameled in black and the white liquid enamel was just mixed up. It's a powder. It's not, when I say it's liquid enamel, it's not like you got the powdered enamel and just added water to it. It's not like that. The liquid enamel is ground extremely fine. It's almost like confectioner's sugar. It's like this, and there's a suspender that's added to it. Keeps things, the particles in suspension when they get wet. It has a binder, so that's what that is. And what we're going to do is we are going to, I've already enameled this bead. I figured you didn't need to see me enamel anything anymore. You know, I mean, a simple bead like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of water to this. And you painters out there are really just going to have fun with this technique. I'm not much of a painter, so you know the things that I do are kind of rudimentary. I mean, they're just little dots and dashes, but you can have fun with that too. So let me just show you what we're going to do here. Okay, we're starting with a little bead cap. Now I need to make that a little bit bigger because the bead next to it will certainly cover that up and it won't be seen. So let's make that a little bit thicker. Now when you fire the liquid enamel, we're going to refire this bead. We're going to have to let this dry for a little bit, or maybe I can, you know, maybe kind of force it dry by just carefully heating it in the flame, not rushing it. The white enamel does not necessarily get really shiny like, you know, like the other enamel will. So, oops. My brushes are always a mess. Don't go. Don't judge me, please. Come on. Oops. A little too much. But that's how forgiving it is. It's really kind of good that it did that so you can see. You could probably maybe etch this bead a little bit to get some tooth, but really it's not necessary. So I'm just going to decorate it a few more dots and then I'll fire it. This is the piece that we just enameled that's nice and cool so I can work with it. And this one is one that I have previously done. So I'm just going to paint a loose abstract design on this piece. Okay. So let's clean up. Let's clean up that edge a little bit. Alright, so let's sip the enamel on. We can just let that sit there for a little bit while it's drying. We'll allow it to dry because otherwise it'll start popping off. Now we're going to gently fire this because we want to be careful about how we introduce it to the flame. gently warm it up because we don't want any thermal shock to occur, which would cause the enamel to pop off. And what we're going to be looking for is for the enamel to start to darken. And that will be an indication that it's warmed up sufficiently and we can bring it closer to the flame. So Orient Red will look black when it gets hot. So we're just being careful. The part where my bead is right now is what I call the non-visible part of the flame. It's very hot here. It would also be the part where lamp workers would do flame annealing. So if you're a lamp worker, you're very familiar with this part of the flame back here. So I know even though this is a little boring to sit here and watch this, it's probably good for you to know how long it takes. So you can see it's starting to get dark, the enamel. It's no longer bright red. Just inching it ever so closely to the flame. And we're just going to fire it until it starts to glow again like it did originally. Ready to remove it. Just going to let it sit here and cool for a minute. We have a little bit of crazing going on, just a little crackle pattern going on with the white liquid enamel, and I find that really attractive. But if you let it dry a little bit longer than we did, that you won't have that. Okay. So we waited about 2 hours. So if you wait a little bit longer than that, you won't have a problem. Let's take a look at the bead that we just did. I just love the veining. I mean, you couldn't plan that exact pattern for another bead, but it really came out nice. It's one of the serendipities of torch firing. Really, really like that. Here we go. So that's going to go back in here. Now let's go back to our pendant over here. And what we need to do now is we just need to pick this up without mucking up the liquid enamel and just tap that off. All right, so now we can kind of clean up around the edge to get some of this off of here. Actually, having a brush wouldn't be a bad idea. Okay, now I've got my brush and I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges here. There you go, that looks a lot nicer. Let's come around here. This is on pretty thick, the liquid enamel, so let's see what kind of an effect we get. And I want to add the Millefiori wafer in the piece while we're firing it. So let's go ahead, put it on the mandrel. We're going to be firing from the back because it's already has enamel on it. We're going to gently introduce it to the flame. And let me see one other thing. I'm seeing this right back here. Okay. So we don't want it to experience thermal shock, all right? So we're going to gently introduce it into the flame. I should be talking or singing or doing something to entertain you while we're watching this. Okay. So we're still gently heating this up, looking for the enamel to start to change color. And getting close. I just turned the torch up a little bit. So one of the things that's going to happen is the enamel, the buildup of the enamel that is around the hole there is going to stick this piece to the mandrel, which is going to allow me to manipulate it a little bit better. So the enamel, the fact that the enamel acts as temporary glue is really a nice thing. Okay, so it's starting to glow. I'm going to be tilting it up in a second. Looks like a lot of the dark has burned off the back. Okay. All right. Important that you get the flame where it needs to be. Sometimes if the lighting isn't right in the room, it takes a little bit of doing to see where your flame, where your piece should be in the flame. Tilt it back up again. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm hoping that we can get some white bubbling up from underneath of the coming through, showing through the flame orange enamel that was sifted on. There, I can see them in the right spot now. Kind of balancing on the mandrel. The enamel has it stuck on there. Okay, I can see the cream, I can see the white enamel starting to break through. I don't know if you can see those bubbles starting to happen. I don't know if David can get a close-up of that. The flower's spreading nicely. That's spread on there. I know that this is taking a little bit to fire, but that's how it goes sometimes. And I want you to be able to see the entire process, so even though you may be slightly bored, it's important. Okay, so I think that that's looking pretty good. So I think we should go ahead and call it quits. Now I'm going to remove the piece by pushing my mandrel forward. So I'm going to be shaking it off the back end of the mandrel. There we go. Okay, interesting. Okay, I'm just spinning this, tilting this so it can just slide down a little bit. I don't know if you can see the enamel's kind of wrapped around like a coil at the end. Push it. I'm going to put it on, I'm just going to drop it right here on the tile. So there you go, pretty interesting. Now that's going to all start to change color as that cools, because we know that the reds and the dark oranges and things look black when they're hot. So that's going to start to change. You can already see that happening. Tell you what's a really pretty color combination is French blue and flame orange. It's just really beautiful. Maybe we'll have a chance to do something in those color combinations before the workshop's over. All right, folks, I think that finishes up this video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.